Guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about uh, LPN versus the RN, the licensed practical nursing versus the registered nursing. In this video, I'm just going to be telling you what the licensed practical nursing is and what the registered nursing is, just in case for people that have been asking, oh, what is the difference? I don't know which one to study. I hope at the end of this video you're able to make a decision after I break it down to you. So I have my notes just beside me, just in case I am looking back and forth. Okay, so yeah, that's it about this video. So let's get right into this video. Just because I've been looking for a way to hold this microphone, I just improvised using this pen to hold the microphone because it's not easy holding it. So, for those that do not understand or do not know that there are two kinds of nursing here in Canada, we have the licensed practical nursing, which is otherwise called the practical nursing program, and we also have the registered nursing. So, for the licensed practical nursing program, it's a 2 years diploma program here in Canada. I know in the US it's like 1 year program for people that do not want to go to school for a long time to become a nurse. This is like a good pathway for you. In 2 years, you're done and you're a nurse. You're a practical nurse. So it's like I said, a 2 years diploma program. And once you're done with your program, you take the exam, which is more like the NCLEX exam for the registered nursing. Once you pass, you're able to practice as a practical nurse. It is shorter and faster, like that's a shorter and faster route. And I would say for international student looking to settle as a permanent resident, this is also a shorter pathway for you. After your 2 years, you do your after you're done with your 2 years diploma program as a practical nurse, then you work for less than a year. So you apply for your permanent residence and you get your permanent residence if everything goes smoothly. And maybe you're married with kids and you're like, I want to do nursing, I want to become a nurse, and I do not want to go to school for that long. That is a shorter way to become a nurse. While for the registered nursing, on the other hand, is a 4 years it's a 4 years degree program. So the difference is that the 2 years program for the practical nursing, you have a diploma certificate, you don't have a bachelor's degree. But the registered nursing, you have your bachelor's of science in nursing. You're basically a nurse with a degree, and this is a 4 years program. So like you have time to go through, your professors have time to go through the whole curriculum with you. Compared to the practical nursing program, you have just 2 years in the practical nursing program, and you have to learn so much in 2 years. Most people go for the registered nursing program, especially like younger people, because they have the time at hand. And I would say anyone can go for it. Be in your 40s, you want to go for registered nursing, that's a good one. You can go for it. So in 4 years, you come out with a bachelor's of science in nursing degree. That's it. And you take your NCLEX exam, you can start working. So another thing is, get into the LPN program. Basically, it's still the same as getting into the registered nursing program. I would say nursing in general is quite competitive, but for the practical nursing, I think it's the what's it called now? The average score is not as high as the registered nursing. So for my school, that's Keanu College, for example, the pass mark for registered nursing is like a 60. So you need to have like a 60 to go into the next semester. While for registered nursing, it's a 69. So you can imagine. So both of them basically have same requirements, but one is higher than the other. So like registered nursing is, obviously more competitive. Now, going into the roles of these people, going into the roles of a licensed practical nurse and a registered nurse. From the name, you would thinking about it, you're going to give like the registered nurses more advantage because they have a bachelor's degree. And so for registered nurses, most of the times you see that they hold administrative positions. Like if you have a practical nurse and a registered nurse and they were to give an administrative position, it is more likely that the registered nurse gets that position because of experience, because of training for 4 years compared to 2 years program for the practical nurses. So most of the times the registered nurses, you get to see that they hold top positions, and I'm not saying practical nurses do not hold top positions, but it is at an higher chance that you see registered nurses hold like top positions. And even in some clinics, hospitals, like the registered nurses are usually like the head, like the doctors, like yeah, in some clinics. And yeah, now talking about the work, I've spoken to quite a few people. I have friends that are practical nurses and registered nurses, and they tell me when I ask them about the workload, they are like, it is basically the same thing. There is not so much difference. Practical nurses basically do the same thing the registered nurses do, and even more, right? And it is not compared to the pay they get. We're coming to the pay in a minute. So, like when it comes to the workload, it's the same for practical nurses and registered nurses. And most of the people I've spoken to say that practical nurses do a bit more work than the registered nurses because the registered nurses get to supervise the practical nurses. So if you're a practical nurse, you're literally under the supervision of a registered nurse. Okay. When it comes to like the pay, it varies on your city, it varies on the province, it varies on a lot of factors. So for practical nurses now, they usually, I'm talking based of yeah, in Alberta that I know of, practical nurses tend to earn an average of $30.87 to $40.65. So let's say the average you see a practical nurse earn year is like $31 to $41. This is an average. This is an average. This does not mean that they don't earn more. So it's possible they earn more, and it's also possible they earn less. So they earn, it's possible they earn lesser than this amount, and it's also possible they earn more. But that is like the average here in Alberta. Why for registered nurses? Oh my god. The other day I was going scrolling through Indeed, and I was seeing like hourly pay for registered nurses, and I'm like, wow. Wow. So for registered nurses, the average is from $37 to $100. So they can earn more than $100. That one I'm sure of. Like they can earn more than $100, but that's like the average. And I also know some practical nurses that earn, from $26. I think like it starts pay, and from there it grows and it grows. Now, some people are going to talk about, oh, travel nurses, who can do travel nursing. Anyone can do travel nursing, either practical nurses or the registered nurses. So for your registered under an agent, you get to do that, and you earn more as a travel nurse. So now, as a practical nurse that has decided to further to move on and become a registered nurse, which is one thing you can do. So if you're not ready to go through 4 years of school now, you can do your 2 years diploma program and become a practical nurse, and later on you apply to become a registered nurse. So how do you do this? One thing you do is that you have to apply, and usually it's going to take, the number of years you're going to use to complete the program is around 2 to 4 years. So I'm saying 2 to 4 years depending on the school you choose to apply. Some of the schools I know have like a fast track accelerated nursing program, which is like a 2 years or 1 and 6 months, 1 year and 6 months. So it just depends. While some other schools, one I know, you it's going to take you 4 years again. So you have to, that's for my school now. As a practical nurse, if you're coming to my school to become a registered nurse, you're still going to do 4 years. You're still going to start from year one. But the advantage you have is that you've taken some of these courses before, so you don't have to take these courses again because they are transferable. So except like the core courses, then you have to take again, the ones that you didn't take as a practical nurse, so you have to take that again. So basically those are the requirements for practical nursing and registered nursing. So now at this point, I know that you might be thinking, which one is best for me, which one is this, which one is that. You can do further research and learn about practical nursing and registered nursing, because both of them have their pros and their cons. But I'll say, if you have time and you're ready to sacrifice, you can go for the registered nursing. It is time consuming. It's not even time consuming. So because you're investing your time, it's something you might want to consider. But if you're looking for a shorter and a faster route to becoming a nurse in less than 3 years, you can just try the practical nursing program. And for Keanu College, currently it's open for you to apply. So I'm going to leave the link in my description box. You can click on the link, apply for either of these courses. And if you have any more questions, so just let me know in the comment section and I'm going to answer you. I hope at this point that you have been able to learn something from this video. So if you have, just give this video a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe to my channel. I really would appreciate that. So see you in the next video. Bye.